Scientists have been attempting to raise awareness about climate change for decades, and a significant proportion of their efforts have been directed towards the Christian community. However, some individuals perceive these efforts as manipulative, suggesting that scientists are trying to coerce Christians into accepting their views on climate change. This essay will examine the ways in which scientists interact with Christians on the issue of climate change, and whether these interactions can be characterized as manipulative. One way in which scientists engage with Christians is by appealing to their biblical values. Many scientists argue that taking care of the environment is a moral obligation, and that Christians have a responsibility to protect God's creation. This approach is often referred to as creation care, and it emphasizes the importance of stewardship and conservation. Scientists may use biblical passages, such as Psalm 24:1, which states that the earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, to illustrate the importance of environmental protection. While this approach may be seen as manipulative by some, it is actually a genuine attempt to engage with Christians on their own terms and to encourage them to take action on climate change. Another way in which scientists interact with Christians is by presenting the scientific evidence for climate change in a clear and accessible manner. Many Christians are skeptical of climate change, and scientists have responded by providing detailed explanations of the science behind it. This approach is not manipulative, but rather educational, as it aims to inform Christians about the reality of climate change and its potential consequences. Scientists may also use anecdotal evidence, such as stories of climate change impacts on Christian communities, to illustrate the human dimension of the issue. Some scientists have also sought to build alliances with Christian leaders and organizations in an effort to promote a unified response to climate change. This approach recognizes that Christians are a significant proportion of the global population and that the support is essential for efforts to mitigate climate change. By working with Christian leaders, scientists hope to encourage Christians to take action on climate change and to promote a sense of shared responsibility for the planet. While some may view this approach as manipulative, it is actually a pragmatic recognition of the importance of Christian communities in the global effort to address climate change. However, some critics argue that scientists are being manipulative by using emotional appeals to persuade Christians to accept their views on climate change. For example, scientists may use images of endangered species or stories of climate change impacts on vulnerable communities to evoke an emotional response from Christians. While this approach may be effective in raising awareness and mobilizing action, it can also be seen as manipulative, as it appeals to emotions rather than reason. Nevertheless, it is worth noting that emotional appeals are a common feature of many social and political campaigns, and are not unique to the issue of climate change. In conclusion, while some individuals may perceive the efforts of scientists to engage with Christians on climate change as manipulative, this characterization is not entirely accurate. Scientists are genuinely attempting to raise awareness about climate change and to encourage Christians to take action to mitigate its impacts. By appealing to biblical values, presenting scientific evidence, building alliances with Christian leaders, and using emotional appeals, scientists are using a range of approaches to engage with Christians on this critical issue. While these approaches may be imperfect, and may be subject to criticism, they are not necessarily manipulative, and reflect a sincere effort to promote a shared response to climate change. Ultimately, the success of these efforts will depend on the ability of scientists to build trust with Christian communities, and to promote a sense of shared responsibility for the planet.